All right. Hey, this is Mr. H. I am going to do question number 30 from the January 2023 Algebra 1 Regents exam, and then I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel under the playlist January 2023 Regents exam questions. All right, so now number 30 is, it says that we got to use the quadratic formulas to solve the quadratic equation x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. And then it says round the solutions to the nearest hundred. So that's important. This is a 2-point question. And if we don't round it properly, we're going to lose one question right off the bat. So when you see 100 to the nearest 100, that means when you get done, you should have 2 decimal places. All right. So now over to the right here is the quadratic formula. It tells you that x equals a negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now, you don't have to commit this to memory because this is going to be given to you on the Regents exam and formula sheet in the reference sheet. So what you have to be able to do is you got to know how to use this. Now, I'm going to walk through this and show you how to use the calculator to do this. First thing you're going to do, let's write the equation. And the quadratic has to be equal to 0 before you can use the quadratic formula. It is, so we can start. The coefficient in front of the x squared term is a 1. That's important. Now, all we're going to do is we're just going to take the coefficients. So the leading coefficient is 1, so that's a. The linear term or the middle term, the x term, is a negative 4. And then the constant, the c, is plus 1. So we got 1, we got a negative 4, and we got a positive 1. I don't want to confuse anybody. We don't need to put that positive sign there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this formula and we are going to plug these values in. So we're going to say x equals a negative 4, because that's the b, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is a negative 4 squared, minus 4 times the a, which is 1, times the c, which is also 1. And then we're going to divide this whole thing by 2 times 1. All right, so that's the formula. Now, I don't want you to use this to calculate. What we're going to do is we're going to use what we've been using. We're going to go to the calculate, and we're going to store these numbers. So it's going to be 1. We're going to store that into A. And then we're going to take a negative 4. And we're going to store that into B. And then we're going to take a positive 1. And we're going to store that into C. Boom, it's done. Now we're just going to enter the formula. So it's going to be, we don't need to do the x part. We're just going to do control divide. We're going to do a negative b plus. We can't do the plus or minus, so we're going to do the plus first. And then we're going to do square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2a. And then I press enter. Now I'm going to get an error message. Now, the reason I'm getting that error message, and I've said this before, whenever you have 2 variables next to each other, the calculator thinks that you've created another variable. But we don't want that to be considered a variable. We want that to be the actual product. So all we have to do is put a multiplication symbol in. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to fix it. So I'm just going to go inside here, and I'm going to put a multiplication symbol. And then I press enter. And it tells me that the solution for this quadratic formula, using the quadratic formula, is 3.732, blah, 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 blah. We only need the first 2 decimal places. So since the 2 is less than 5, we just drop it. So our first answer is going to be x equals 3.73, $3.73. Now, to get the other solution, all we're going to do is we're just going to copy this, and we're going to change the plus to a minus, and then we press enter. And then here's the other solution. So this is about a little bit over 26 cents. So we're going to round this up to 27 cents because when we look at the 7, 7 is greater than 5, so we round up. So our second answer is going to be x equals 0.27. And that would be our answer. Now, just doing this, you gotta do this part to show them that you know how to use the quadratic formula. But what we're going to do is we're just going to store all those numbers, A, B, and C, and then we're just going to type in those numbers for the quadratic formula and let the calculator actually solve it for us. All right. That's it. Let me shut this down.